Oh, shit.
Well, we waited out the rain delay, and here we are. Cardinals fall to the Reds in the finale of the 4-game set by a final score of 9-1. Joe Roderick and Mike Claiborne here with you. It's Cards Hub Postgame here on Sports Hub STL. All content brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. And all postgame shows brought to you by Hot Shots Bar and Grill, home of St. Louis sports fans since 1990. Find yours at hotshotsnet.com. And Hot Shots celebrating their 35 years of Hot Shots coming up on June 1st at noon out at the St. Charles. Hot Shots make plans to head on out there today. I've heard there is a possibility of a Sports Hub taco eating contest, Sports Hub celebrity taco eating contest out there at the event on June 1st. More details on that. Watch the Randy Carricker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley mornings here on Sports Hub STL at 10 a.m. Joe Roderick, Mike Claiborne with you. Claib's 9-1 loss. Matthew Liberatore looked good again, but the rain got him today. And, sometimes that just happens.
You're right. It happens. He was okay. He had one pitch that squeezed him. He ended up having a walk, which is unheard of for him. And then the home run followed. And, once the rain came, you just don't know what the mindset's going to be like when you have a rain delay. They tried to get it in before the rain came, and obviously they didn't. And Cincinnati was just in a better position. They took advantage of some guys who probably weren't ready to go as far as being able to come out and give them length after you lose Liberatore, because you have to remember, when you're a relief pitcher, you have a routine as well. And they'll tell you what the start time might be, but sometimes you just aren't mentally there. And I'm not saying that's the case today, but Cincinnati just took advantage of some Cardinal pitching today. It's been pretty good for the most part.
And, the Cardinals yesterday, they got off to such a good start. I mean, they end the game one yesterday with the back-to-back home runs. They win 6-0. They come out, they jump all over the rookie, making his major league debut in game 2 of the game, get up 9-1. But as soon as they got those 9 runs yesterday, the offense just kind of stopped. And it almost was like, all right, we got another early game tomorrow. Let's get through this one, and let's get to the next one. And the bats just never seemed to wake up even today.
No, they didn't. I think you had a lot of baseball to be played in 24 hours, and it's hard to maintain that pace, and it just didn't work for them today. I mean, that's part of 162. You're going to have days like that. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Somebody points out, Samuel in the chat, Claves points out it was a 500 road trip, which the Cardinals have, if you look at some of the road trips they had in April, we'll take 2 out of 4 on a short 4-game road trip for them today.
Well, you think about what happened early in the season and how things worked on the road. To split, I know it's just 4 games, but listen, man, you got to start somewhere. Now you come home and you get 6 games against the Mets, who are playing pretty well, and the Pirates come in here and they're playing okay before you go out on one of the longest trips of the year. So it's not going to get any easier. No. So you better figure it out.
Yeah, so that's Matthew Liberatore, 3 innings in the game today, 2 hits, 2 earned runs for him. Matt Swanson comes in. He goes 2 innings, gives up 2 hits, walks 2 guys. Riley O'Brien got hit, gave up a few runs, 3 earned runs for him. John King got hit pretty hard, but you were at a point there where, again, even though Liberatore, it wasn't because of performance, you had to take him out because of the weather. You're just trying to sit there and you're trying to piece together, okay, how we got 9 outs out of him. How do we get the other 18 now out of this bullpen? After 2 games yesterday, too. Reds were in the same situation, though.
Well, yeah, but the difference is the Cardinals didn't have to use a lot of pitchers yesterday.
Yeah.
The Reds kind of went through things yesterday, and to the point they had to call up somebody for today. So, it's one of those situations where The other guy's going to be a little bit better than you. And, today was their day. Tomorrow's a whole new story. But there were more pluses in this 4-game road trip than I think minuses. The offense started to come around. Mason Wynn seems like he's a little bit more comfortable in the 2 spot. If you can get Arenado going again, man, you might still have something because Contreras is starting to put together some at-bats. You have some other guys that are starting to feel it a little bit. Now, I always caution people, when you think you're swinging the bat well in Cincinnati, the problem is it's Cincinnati, okay? It's the bat well there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Come back to St. Louis, a little bit on that road trip coming up. We'll talk about that in just a second. Want to tell everybody, though, hey, there's a lot to look at right now. DraftKings Pick 6. You got your playoff hockey tonight, playoff basketball tonight, along with a whole schedule of baseball games still to be played. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to play $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits, better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Claims, we look ahead to this series coming up against the Mets. One bright spot, and we'll find out. I guess you'll find out when you get down to the ballpark tomorrow what the status is of Ivan Herrera, who made his first rehab start today down in Memphis, hit a towering home run down there for the Redbirds. And then late in that game, I thought it was going to be kind of a situation, the Nolan Gorman situation all over again. When you saw Pozo go down for a second, grabbing his wrist late in the game today, I thought that was going to be one of those where the roster just figures itself out for you. But Pozo stayed in there and caught the final 2 innings. What do you expect? What do you think is going to be the case with Ivan Herrera this weekend?
Well, I talked to Herrera, gosh, it must have been Tuesday. And he thought he would go down for a couple of games. And I think we'll see him probably Sunday, if not Saturday. Because you don't know what the situation is with Pozo after the game. Maybe he has some swelling and maybe they want to be careful with him. You got IL him and then you can send him out to Memphis for rehab. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do from a roster jockeying situation. But I expect to see Herrera before the weekend is up.
He did DH today in the game.
What role will he be? Will he be your right-handed DH over the weekend, or do you try and throw him behind the plate? I kind of think that right now, I just want him to get some swings, maybe ease him into the catching element right as we speak, because Pages has given you some pretty good innings behind the plate.
Yeah, and that's the big question when you look at it with what to do with Herrera, because he provides the power that Luken Baker's not giving you from the right side now when Luken Baker has been used. And if you make that call to bring Herrera up for his bat only, you have 4 guys on your roster who have caught innings in Major League Baseball. And that's not a good problem to have. That kind of does clog you up a little bit in as far as flexibility goes with a lot of positions.
Well, it does. I'm going to take Contreras out of that conversation. I think what you'll see, just for safety's sake, Pozo probably goes on the IL depending on how the wrist reacts. And you'll be okay. I think we make too much of an issue on that because it's not like you have somebody who's chomping at the bit to take one of those other spots on the roster. Now, Herrera, we've seen here today, he might be a guy that may get some more action, because he can play on the infield and the outfield. But, when you look around, I'm not sure what bench is perfect these days, considering the shortage of skilled guys who can really swing the bat coming off the bench.
We will see how it goes tomorrow night. Cardinals and Mets. We'll have a full preview for that tomorrow on Cards Hub 365 around 1 o'clock. Ryan Fagan and I will be on the broadcast for that before we get some news down from the ballpark at Busch Stadium. Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, and the rest of the New York Mets come to town. Juan Soto homered this afternoon at Citi Field, his first home run at Citi Field as a Met today.
I think he hit 2, didn't he?
Did he hit a second one? I only saw the first one.
Well, let me check just to make sure.
That's bad news if it is. That means Juan Soto's heating up right before a weekend in St. Louis. So that's not good news that you might be giving us here in a second.
Well, let me scroll down here. I'm trying to find. I thought he hit 2, but I could be wrong on that as I keep looking for the score. Continue as I'm doing my circle in the air here.
Sonny Gray goes up against Clay Holmes tomorrow in the matchup, which will kick off, or I guess be part of a wild night of sports in St. Louis.
Too.
Yeah, oof. So a hot Juan Soto coming into St. Louis is not what you want to see. Sonny Gray gets to start tomorrow. 7:15.
The thing is, here's the thing with him, Joe. He may be hot in the sense where he's putting it in play, but he's always a tough out.
Oh yeah,
and it really depends on who. And if Alonso is starting to see better pitchers, now you have a bigger problem. I think their top three guys, when you think of Lindor, Soto, Alonso, that's a pretty tough order to deal with. And then you have Nimmo and some other guys near the bottom of the order. Jeff McNeil was a batting championship not long ago. I mean, it's a pretty formidable lineup. And tomorrow night with Clay Holmes going, he left the Yankees because they didn't want to start him. The Mets said, we'll start you. And Holmes has come over and been nothing but good.
It'll all start tomorrow night, 7:15 game for that. If you don't have tickets to the Battle Hawks or the Blues game tomorrow night, plenty of good seats available for the Cardinals. See a good baseball team, and the Mets come to town too. So,
and we have some pretty good giveaways going on this weekend. Also, it's going to be pretty hectic around St. Louis tomorrow night. When you think about Blues and certainly the Cardinals, I don't know what that looks like for the Battlehawks. I know they're fighting for a playoff spot. So it's just great to have people out. The weather should be good, and just come on down and support your favorite team. Start with the Cardinals. Everybody's got something to stake tomorrow.
Believe it's the reversible bucket hats on Monday, which you'll be wearing when you do Cards Hub 365 on Monday next week. I also believe it's the Brendan Donovan bobblehead and headband giveaway too. So maybe you wear the headband instead of the bucket hat, and then it's the
can I wear both? I guess you
could wear both. You could wear both, yeah. And then I think it's the little carrying case or whatever on a Sunday, which is a fan favorite. That's a fan favorite, yeah.
We have a theme night, the Grateful Dead night. I think is I know it's this weekend, so that's going to be something that we have a good crowd for as well, because that's one of the promotions that really fans show up for.
Yeah. So lots going on this weekend. Hey, he's Mike Claiborne. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been another edition of Cards Hub Postgame. All postgame shows brought to you by Hot Shots, home of St. Louis sports fans since 1990. All content here on Sports Hub STL brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. We will talk to you tomorrow.